AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, alongside our wonderful and talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. Good afternoon, Bridgette. It's nice to see sunshine and a little bit warmer temperatures heading our way.
It really does. I think folks are truly looking forward to kind of the last warm-up, the last nice weekend this weekend before we say adios. It's fall.
Yes, I hate to say it, but the weather is looking kind of downhill after this weekend. Not saying we won't see any more warm days, but to have them right on a weekend, this weekend is shaping up to look pretty good. Today, though, we're in the mid-40s right now, on our way up into the mid-50s, so rise about another 10 degrees, and winds not that bad. They're out of the south to southwest, about 5 to 15. Not too shabby. And we'll continue our warming trend as we head into tomorrow. Low 60s, a little breezier tomorrow. A few more clouds on Friday and slightly cooler weather around 60, but then the weekend looks absolutely fantastic. It's probably a weekend you're going to want to wrap up your yard work, maybe rake the leaves, maybe hang the Christmas lights. Don't turn them on, but it might be a good weekend to hang them because temperatures will be very mild in the mid to upper 60s. So looking really nice this weekend. But, and there's always a but, right? We are about ready to go. We are about ready to go into the stormy part of our LRC cycle, which I am really looking forward to it because we desperately need the moisture. I saw on social media that one of our local farmers is already starting the corn, and so we've got about four days of some real dry weather. Can they wrap up? I know it depends on acreage, but is 4 days sufficient? 4 dry days?
Again, like you said, it kind of depends on the acres and no breakdowns, right? We don't need any equipment breakdowns, but that's going to help. I have some folks that are already halfway through their corn harvest. It's progressing fast, so that's a real positive for us right now. If you keep it dry for the next 4 days, if we don't finish corn, we're going to make a significant dent into the harvest. Good.
Yeah, because like I said, our stormy part of our LRC cycle starts next week, and we'll have more on that a little bit later, but it's starting to look a little more promising in terms of getting some moisture around here. And again, we're not the only ones. All the way most everybody from the Mississippi westward really needs some precip, and we're starting to see signs of at least a few storms heading our way. So we've got to pay the bills here. We are going to take a break for ABC News, and when we come back, we'll have a little more on the forecast. We'll talk some ag topics, talk a little bit more about the LRC, and when we will have our winter weather outlook. We've got a close date set on that. We'll have more on that coming up after the break.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. D-Day, deposition day for the last president and a former magazine columnist's defamation lawsuit against him.
President Trump was ordered to sit for the deposition and answer questions under oath from attorneys for E. Jean Carroll, a former columnist at Elle. She has sued him for defaming her when he denied her rape claim, and a recent ruling said that since both of them are of advanced age, Trump should not be permitted to run the clock out on her lawsuit. Trump has tried for years to avoid the deposition, most recently after Carroll said she intends to sue him in November for the alleged rape under a new New York law that allows sex assault victims to sue regardless of the statute of limitations. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
A silver lining to the dark cloud of inflation. It might help lower your federal income tax liability.
First, Americans on Social Security discovered they're getting an 8.7% raise in their monthly checks next year. Now, inflation may cut what you owe in your 2023 taxes. The IRS saying because of this year's record price increases, it will raise tax brackets by about 7% next year, which means if your pay isn't keeping up with inflation, you could end up in a lower tax bracket and have to give back less to Uncle Sam.
ABC's Andy Field in Washington. This would apply to tax returns filed in 2024. Across Ukraine, hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses lost electric power in Tuesday's Russian barrage of explosive-laden drones. Separately, imprisoned American basketballer Brittany Griner celebrated her 32nd birthday as a guest of Russia.
Her lawyers say they were able to spend a couple of hours with her and get a message out. They say the WNBA star thanked everyone fighting so hard to get me home. All the support and love are definitely helping me. Griner is appealing her 9-year sentence and has a hearing next week.
ABC's Shannon Crawford. Germany fired the head of its cybersecurity agency following reports he might have had ties to Russian intelligence. You're listening to ABC News.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. Don't take on the IRS alone. If you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima specialize in a powerful IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Looking to dress up your garage or patio? The concrete experts at Prairie Supply can help with any size concrete project. From design to delivery, we have built a great reputation renting equipment for your project needs. They have a large inventory of rental tools and equipment for decorative concrete, including stamps, polishing equipment, and a variety of tools designed to make your dream a reality. Prairie Supply, the contractor's headquarters. For more info, go to prairiesupply.com.
Fall means cooler weather, football, and Oktoberfest beer on tap from Sam Adams and Fargo Brewing at Three Lines Pub. Try the new flavors of mac and cheese bites. Get a coconut shrimp basket on special for a limited time, and fan favorites like Irish egg rolls, Reuben bites, or bangers and mash. First responders, military personnel, and seniors all save 15% at Three Lines. Friday nights, enjoy 2 meals and 2 glasses of wine for just $30 combined. Friends, food, and fun at Three Lines Pub on 13th Avenue South in West Fargo.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, again, along with Bridgette Readel, our Ag Director. I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. If you're watching us on Acres TV, thank you so much. And if you're watching us online, streaming us, again, thanks for joining us. And if you are watching us online, we've got a nice little giveaway today. You can win one of our rain gauges if you give us a call, 701-293-9000 with the keyword. So you have to be watching us online. And if you're watching us on Acres TV, and you can give us a call, 701-293-9000. We'd love to hear from you. And wherever you're watching from in the United States, we can easily ship that out to you. So let's talk a little bit about the LRC. And again, if you're new to us, that's a relatively new forecasting tool using cycling method. There's a pattern that sets up early October, and each year is different. Some years it's a 30-day cycle, 45-day cycle, 50, you name it. Last year, I believe we had a 63-day cycle. Odds are we're not going to see a cycle that long. The cycle started out dry, and then we went really cold in this last 7 days. Now we warm back up. So that's showing us that there's going to be a lot of up and down with the LRC this, at least the start of each cycle. But when that cold hits, it is going, as that cycle repeats later in the winter, it's going to be really intense cold, I think, when that cycle repeats itself coming back around when we get these cold snaps. Now we're starting to go into the stormy part of the LRC cycle. That starts next week, and the next 2 to 3 weeks are going to be very important for our agriculture community, because if we can get some substantial moisture within the next 2-3 weeks before the cycle sets, I think we'll be okay coming into the spring and summer for next year, because again, that same pattern cycles back. So if we stay drier than normal over the next 2 to 3 weeks, that's not good news. So fingers crossed we get that precip coming in starting next week. And looks like we've got a date set now, tentatively for December 7th. We'll have our winter weather outlook. Me, Justin, Bridgette, along with Gary Lezak, who's the founder of the LRC. We're going to wait a little longer this year because last year we had our winter special right before Thanksgiving, and the cycle wasn't quite set yet. We had a good idea of what we were going to expect, but we want to wait this year until the cycle is fully set. And by December 7th, we should have that cycle fully set. Then we'll be able to pinpoint dates, specific dates during the winter of when we're going to see these bitterly cold air masses coming in, when we'll have a let up in the intense cold, and when we'll see our best chances for snow coming in as well. So again, mark that on your calendar, December 7th. It'll be on the Jay Thomas Show from, I believe we're either going to do it from generally 2 to 5. We might start it at 3 in the afternoon, but I think we're going to start it about 2 in the afternoon. So again, December 7th, when we get the exact details on that, times and whatnot, we will definitely pass it along.
Excellent. Well, as we talk about things that we want to pass along, Dean, I've got a couple.
Excellent.
Things going on. All right. So one of them is, we talk about this fairly often, our favorite things, beef and beer.
Gotta
and
love
this
both.
has to do with beef. That's right. One of the large packing plants, JBS, has decided to close its U.S. plant-based business, Planterra Foods. They're doing so because they are struggling to gain market share in the sector, and they think that the overall demand for plant-based meats is dropping. Now, they are continuing their operations in Brazil and Europe, which have had minor increases in market share, but otherwise, Beyond Meat, Maple Leaf Foods, they are all lessening their revenue forecasts respectively as we start to see slight diminishes in the demand for plant-based meats. We still see upticks on homegrown regular proteins such as pork, beef, chicken, etc. So just a little bit of what's going on in the market, what people are thinking. Which leads me to the fact that University of Minnesota is hosting a webinar, and I love the title of this. It's a series for cattle owners with a day job, because we have a lot of livestock owners who do double duty. They not only raise their animals and or farm, but additionally, they have a day job somewhere else. And so these are going to be online webinars starting Thursday, November 3rd, following the next 3 weeks, and they're going to be discussing grazing strategies to reduce costs, choosing calving seasons, and then helping make decisions on winter housing, space requirements, feed strategies, etc. If you are an interested party, perhaps you raise some cattle and you'd like to listen to these webinars, they'll be held at 8 o'clock at night. They'll be recorded so you can see them after. And if you'd like the link to them, send me an email, ag@flagfamily.com, and I will share that link with you so that you can find it more easily and you can attend that series starting on November the 3rd. I like it when things are made to be easier for those who would need to attend them, right? Let's make that an easy access point.
No doubt about it. And Bridgette, we got an email. I think this was a talk to text email, yes, because I couldn't quite decipher it. So maybe you can help me out with the email that one of our listeners had a question for you.
I've got it. And
okay.
So the question is, folks are seeing some big round bales in a cornfield south of I-29 or south of Fargo along I-29. Why do they bale corn stalks is the question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So corn stalks are considered a good fodder. So if you need to put corn stalks down to bed animals, you could. They do have a feed value to them, kind of like a silage, if you will, although they won't be green and siled. You can use them so that the animals still have some additional feed source, etc. Remember, we have so many places in the U.S. with D4 droughts that this is going to be a valuable feed stuff and bedding material. So corn stalks, they're not as easy to bale, but they can be done. And yes, indeed, that's what's going to happen with those.
Now, what's the difference between that and baling the hay? In terms of feed?
Each product, whether it's hay, straw, or corn, and the straw, I would think of the lesser quality of feed value. Each one has a different amount of protein that the animal can receive from it. It's different digestibility. We'll probably need a livestock nutrition specialist in order to help me answer those questions most accurately. But the bottom line is, if you are looking for your best value for feed stuff, you're probably going to feed a sweet hay like an alfalfa, a meadow hay, etc. The corn stalks maybe not quite as much, because by the time they got baled, they had dried down, they had less feed value to them. And then straw, I would put in the class for using as bedding more so than a feedstock. But all of those get baled and used at different points in time for beef cattle especially.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I believe that was Larry that sent that email in.
I think so.
Yeah. So if you have any weather questions or ag questions like Larry just sent in,
yes.
Again, you can email us weather@flagfamily.com or ag@flagfamily.com. Well, we're coming up on a break again here, Bridgette. We got to pay some more bills. We do have a guest coming up after the break. Who is our guest today?
We're going to talk with Angie Johnson. She is NDSU's Extension Safety Specialist for Farm and Ranch. And Angie's been with us before. Right now, we're going to touch on harvest and some of the questions that folks may be asking right now is to get us all through harvest safely as we wind down. Additionally, I have some more fun facts about French fries and potatoes after our guest yesterday. We'll get to all those after this.
Hey Flag listeners, this is Spencer Brandt from Media Shack LLC. We are your one-stop shop for business branding in Fargo. Whether it's decals, banners, vehicle graphics, custom apparel, and much more, we do it and we do it in-house. Check out our website at MediaShackFargo.com for more information, or on social media at MediaShackFargo. That's MediaShackFargo.com for all your business branding needs.
For 103 years, Wimmer's Diamonds has been helping you celebrate special moments. Celebrate the precious little addition to your family, celebrate that exceptional achievement, and celebrate love. We invite you to visit us at our inviting new showroom and let us help you find that perfect, beautiful reminder to celebrate your special moments of love. Wimmer's, 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Brr, sounds like winter out there.
Did you just say?
Yep, they sure did, and it's coming. Hi, I'm Matthew, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. Winter's on the way, and it's time to get ready, including getting new all-weather tires designed specifically for our icy winter weather. Take advantage of our current rebates and availability, and our team can have you ready for winter today. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Download the app, sign up, and say bye-bye, bugs. Tommy's Express Car Wash is that easy. Tommy's offers a cleaner car wash and an overall better experience. Wash your car as often as needed. And the best part, after 3 washes, it pays for itself, and you can use it at all 3 other FM locations. Download the app, pre-buy, and skip the line. Or stop by one of their 3 locally owned Tommy's Express Car Wash locations. Tommy's Express Car Wash. Love your ride.
There are a million reasons to love a pet, and a million more to love a shelter pet. During the month of October, Muscatel Subaru has teamed up with Homeward Animal Shelter of Fargo to find forever homes for shelter pets by donating $100 each day of the month for pet adoption fees. Having Muscatel Subaru help with adoption fees makes this a great time to consider adopting a 4-legged companion. Go to homewardonline.org to see available pets and to make an appointment today.
You see trucks hauling sugar beets up and down roads in the Red River Valley during sugar beet harvest season. It takes all of us to ensure it's a safe harvest for all. Vivig Oil and Propane is a name you've grown to trust over their 60-plus years of providing all of your propane, farming fuel, and lubricant requirements. Wishing you a safe harvest are your friends at Vivig Oil and Propane. Online at vivigoil.com.
And welcome, everyone. We are so glad that you are joining us right here on WDAY, Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, and we'll be getting a return of Justin Storm, our meteorologist extraordinaire, next week after he comes back from celebrating the birth of his baby boy.
I can't wait.
We're excited to see Justin. Yeah, it'll be fun to catch up.
I'm tired. He does a lot of work around here.
He will be back.
He will be.
For those of you who are going to want to join in on our discussion and maybe give Justin some well wishes, You can do that by reaching out to us at 701-293-9000. Additionally, you can send us emails, weatherandag@flagfamily.com. We do like your questions. We appreciate the emails. Gives us a chance to research them and bring your answer on air to you. So, speaking of bringing answers on air, our guest today is Angie Johnson. She is NDSU's Extension Farm and Ranch Safety Specialist. Angie, welcome back. This is your second trip around with us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I love being a part of your show and being able to talk to producers and constituents out there. Thank you so much.
Well, we are glad for all the things that you do. This is a new position at NDSU, so I'd venture a guess it's been a little like drinking from a fire hose as you got started this summer. But right now, as we've been into harvest for a bit, what's the biggest question or area of focus that you might have going on for our growers?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And up in front and foremost view is the discussion on combine fires. They have been very, very prevalent this fall we've had great, excellent harvest conditions. Our crops have been able to dry down and, the moisture content level of the crops coming off for the most part has been great. We're at levels that, we're looking at safe storage moisture levels. It's just coming off the ground so nice. And so one of the challenges, though, with a really, really dry crop comes with combine fires. And so that's kind of been the big discussion right now.
And Angie, how prevalent is that? Obviously, the drier it is, the more that's going to happen. But is that a common occurrence each harvest season, the drier it is?
I would say it really depends on crops. We look at, I don't have a running database set in terms of, looking at all of the combine fires that are happening across the state. But I would beg to say that a majority of those fires are the result of either harvesting a soybean crop or a sunflower crop. And really that's because of the dust that's made from harvesting those two types of crops. We've got, one of my biggest concerns is we're just starting into sunflower harvest. I've been traveling across the state and there's some sunflower panheaders rolling out there, and so that's where I'm really concerned because we did see a really large jump in sunflower acreage planted this spring, and so I am a little bit worried about that.
And you're exactly right, Angie. There's a lot of sunflower acres out there. Go ahead, Dean.
And for those that aren't familiar with obviously it could be static electricity, it could be a spark that the combine lets off. What's the main cause for people that don't know? Like if they're driving by and they see a combine, that the crop is starting to catch fire, and what do the farmers do if that happens?
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions there, so I'll try to do the best I can here. No, so just don't be afraid to, if I miss something, please
Sure.
ask and repeat. And so I would say one of the big, speaking on sunflowers and soybeans, we've got a lot of dust particulate when it comes to harvesting those crops. Those residues are extremely dusty and have very, very fine particles. If you've ever broken open a sunflower stem at harvest time, it snaps better than a twig would off a tree. And that inside piece is called the pith. And that pith, when it hits the header, it just disintegrates. And it's such small particulate that particulate gets blown into the exhaust manifold and the turbocharger, all components of our engine and our combines, which are huge to start with. And so over time, if you're getting all of that particulate matter coming into a hot, very, very hot engine, that can be an easy place for a fire to ignite and start. And you're dealing with so much residue buildup on the combine over time that if you don't stop and take some time to either grab an air compressor or even a leaf blower to help get rid of some of that buildup of chaff, that all of that chaff and dust is going to, not all of it, but a good portion of it is going to make its way into that engine manifold through the turbocharger where there's a really high heat source, and that's where a lot of fires can start.
And so, Dean, just like Angie's saying with all this stuff, once that's in there, that dust can sit and smolder.
Right.
And so it's not
Absolutely.
just that you might see a flame right away. It'll sit there for a long time until it ignites.
Now, is that more worried about, can that ignite since the crop is dry as well? Obviously, that could ignite the crop as well, along with the combine. What happens then? I mean, are we looking at, obviously, the farmers probably have fire extinguishers on there. Does that usually take care of the issue?
Oh gosh, it's. I hate saying this, but it depends, right? It depends on the situation. So sometimes, if you're seeing smoke, if you have an idea as to where that smoke is coming from, sometimes you can honestly do more harm than good, because the minute you open up that shield or apparatus to get to where you think that smoke is, you're introducing air, you're introducing oxygen, which can really flame up that system. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like, you want to put the fire out, but in the same token, you better be careful, because the minute you allow more oxygen, you allow that air to be exposed to that source of ignition, you might have bigger flames taking place. So it really depends on the situation. And you're right, if the fire is getting to a point where it's out of, like, you're not going to be able to control it with a 20-pound fire extinguisher, you need to call 911. You need to get fire trucks and dispatch out there, because once that combine starts, you definitely could set the rest of that standing crop on fire, or the stubble of the remains of that crop on fire. And so, yeah, you could continue to breed more problems. And so you got to get help to get it stopped, get it contained to just that spot.
And Dean, you'll see right now, folks will take tillage passes. They'll take some type of a tillage implement and they'll turn the black soils around a field to prevent that from happening. They'll literally create fire breaks so that you don't have to worry about a field taking fire and jumping from place to place. We're going to come back in just a few moments. Our guest today is Angie Johnson. She is North Dakota Extension Services Specialist for Farm and Ranch Safety. We're currently talking about combine fires. So many things to touch on, like why we're seeing water trucks sitting at the end of the field at this time of the year. And Angie, I've got a couple of combine fire stories for you that I know you're going to appreciate. So we'll share those with folks when we come back right after this.
Acme Tools is your trailer superstore, featuring Diamond C flatbed and dump trailers, Doolittle single and double axle utility trailers, and Legend manufacturing enclosed trailers. Whatever your application, we have the quality trailer to fit your needs. In stock now. Shop General Utility, heavy duty tandem axle, tilt bed dump, and Vito's enclosed trailers. Check out our huge selection of trailers at Acme Tools on the I-29 frontage road, Fargo. Do your best work.
Food, football, and fun in the fall. Tailgaters brings it all together with their all-you-can-eat lunch buffet from 11 to 2 weekdays, or dinner and an ice-cold beverage after work. Tailgaters is the place. There's no better place to watch football on Saturday and Sunday. Each game day, get their never-frozen, fresh-made half-pound burgers with fries for just $10.99. Domestic pints and bottles just $3.75. And live music every Friday night at 7. This week, Sean Mitzel plays at Tailgaters, corner of Main and University, downtown Fargo.
Hi, this is Kevin Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer's Auction Company. Pfeiffer's upcoming October auctions include 442 acres of crop and pasture land in McHenry County, 159 acres of exceptional cropland in Ward County, 1,620 acres of crop and pasture land in Emmons County, south of Bismarck, North Dakota, and 80 acres of hunting land in Roseau County, Minnesota. View these auctions and many more land and farm estate retirement auctions at Pfeiffer's.com.
Are you a business owner who needs an extra hand to meet that deadline? Hi, Nancy Kelly here from Labor Masters. It doesn't matter if you're a carpenter, a roofer, a mason, a painter, a landscaper, or a moving company. Whether you need help with cleanup or tear down. If you're looking for long or short-term help this season, don't hesitate. We've got you covered. Give us a call at 701-566-8755 or go online at labormasters.net. Labor Masters, the quality, reliable help you need today.
What do you tell folks when they ask who your insurance agent is and why?
DJ's great. His practice has been not just
an insurance agent, but also there's a friendship there. They are very open about their communications with their clients. They want to do everything they can to help their clients. I've got multiple policies with him: auto, home, life insurance, an umbrella policy. Anything and everything you need insurance-wise, you can get from DJ Coulter Insurance.
DJ Coulter, American Family Insurance, 235-6641, djcoulter.com.
I'm former State Senator Curtis Olofsson. I'm a lifelong farmer and rancher and business owner and a national spokesman for addressing our nation's debt. I served in the State Senate from 2006 to 2012, and I'm running to return to the Senate in the new District 10 in Fargo to bring my experience to bear for this new district. Together, we will address the ever-increasing rate of crime, find solutions to our child care crisis, and recruit and retain great teachers for our schools. Vote for experience. Vote for Curtis Olofsson on November 8th.
Paid for by District 10 Republicans, Curtis Olofsson Chair.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right, and when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681.
Welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, and we are happily visiting with Angie Johnson. She is the NDSU Extension Farm and Safety Specialist. Whew, that's a lot of title, but Angie's got it covered for us. And if you want to talk with her about any farm and ranch safety questions that you have, we're currently discussing combine fires. Maybe you have something coming up with calving and weaning. You want to ask Angie a question, you can do that. 701-293-9000 or email weather or ag at flagfamily.com. You might be following us via our live streams on Facebook, on our own Weather and Ag in Focus page, and also on Acres TV. Lots of ways to watch, listen, and ask those questions. So, Angie, we've been talking about combine fires, and I mentioned that there's a lot of different ways to avoid it. One was tillage was out in the field. You mentioned fire extinguishers on equipment, blowing the dust off. We're starting to see farmers using their water trucks, keeping them from spray season out on the field in case a fire should break out. This will make you laugh. My brother and I once put out a combine fire using the leftover grape pop in the cooler that nobody would drink. We had a main bearing get hot with soybean dust, and we shook up our cans of pop and blew them up into the engine compartment to put out the fire. So that's my extra method too.
Hey, you got to use what you've got. You know, you use the tools in your toolbox and you make it work. So kudos on that one.
So going back to combine fires, other safety suggestions that you might have for folks, maybe even as we get towards drier season, if we were trying to dry down any corn or any other products out there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just keeping, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? And so I know it's not a fun job and it takes time, but keeping those systems as clean as possible. You know, one of the challenges talking about drier fires really comes into play if there is a need to dry soybeans, for example. It's not necessarily the soybean itself that causes issues. It's all the pods. It's the pods and stem pieces, plant pieces that get caught up in the dryer system, and over time, that's what eventually can ignite in those dryer systems and really cause some of those really massive fires. And so, taking the time to screen the crop if possible before going in the dryer. And I know that's not easy. I know it's time consuming and it's another step in the process, But for that type of investment that we make in our dryer and storage systems, it could prevent a tragedy from taking place. So I'm really glad you brought up dryer systems too.
Well, going along with dryers also means grain storage. And we're going to get to the point where folks are putting a lot of grain into bins for on-farm storage. Let's start giving those reminders now, Angie. What should you not do when it's time to start emptying out and cleaning bins?
Oh my gosh, you know me too well. If at all, I don't ever want anybody out there going inside that bin when we've got, full levels of grain that we're really not sure what's going on, why we're not seeing grain flow. The first challenge is really trying our best to not go inside. And again, I know that's hard. We don't have great answers when it comes to grain that's crusted or chunked or very heavily moldy due to, excess moisture conditions, insect issues. But we've got to make sure to protect ourselves first. And that sounds selfish. That's not the farmer way. We know the value of the crop inside that bin, but there is no amount of grain in this world that's worth losing a life over. And so starting off with good condition going into the bin, what is your moisture level? How are you managing it? Do you got your fans on as needed? What's the humidity outside, temperature outside? Honest to God, it's a science. Farmers, it's amazing. They don't give themselves enough credit for the amount of science that they're involved with and engineering. And so just being really, really savvy and mindful of the fact that once you put it in the bin, you can't just walk away. I mean, you've got to be diligent, have some of those monitoring systems in place, those temperature probes. Keep an eye on that baby and make sure that you're not seeing any hot spots develop. And the moment you do, get that grain moving because it does not get better with time.
So, Dean, we just threw out a lot of discussion there about bins and so forth. As a guy who's not been around grain handling systems, what comes to mind for you as to, why someone would get in a bin, et cetera? I mean, what questions, if any, does that prompt for you too to think, why does all this have to happen?
Well, and I think, if the grain isn't flowing, right? So, and that seems to be the main problem. So isn't there, I'm surprised nothing has been invented yet to somehow be able to, like, if something is stuck inside of there, where we can somehow easily, without getting into the bin, somehow loosen it up if for some reason the grain is not flowing, and there's nothing out there like that, correct?
There are, there's the grain weevil product, a pair of students out of Nebraska have created. I mean, there's definitely prototype pieces out there. I mean, back in the days, I heard of systems where basically you would have log chains dangling inside the bin, and you would turn on a motor, and these chains would swing and be able to hit the grain and get it to break. And so it's not, I mean, there are some things out there, but it's not again, farming isn't a one-size-fit-all approach, right? There's so many unique situations that take place. Sometimes it's not crusting that happens. Maybe it's molding in different areas of the bin that creates chunks, and then once those chunks reach the auger, the sweep auger or the sump at the bottom of the bin, then they plug the auger. Then what do? That's a different situation versus, generalized crusting. Or even if you do have crusting and get it broke, what happens with those chunks? Because it doesn't just nicely fall apart into beautiful kernels of corn again. It can stay really compacted into, chunks of corn. And so it's just, you're right. I totally agree. I wish I had better answers on, all right, we're at this level. We've got crust. We've got chunks. What can we do without having to go in the bin? And we're just not quite there yet.
And Angie, approximately, do you know, like, how many injuries or deaths occur each year from grain bin incidences?
Boy, that's a really good question. I'd have to pull up. Purdue University does a really good job because, again, like we talked about on our last show segment regarding firm safety, farm and ranch related incidences, they are not, there is no reporting system. And so Purdue University, since about 1962, has done a really good job. They've got grant funds to really scour media, social media, news sources that pick up on different confined space or grain bin related incidences. And so off the top of my head, I apologize, I don't know the numbers, but I do know that in 2020, North Dakota ranked, in the top 3 in terms of injuries or fatalities revolving around confined spaces.
Wow.
So it's real. It's a problem.
Man.
And, as we start to face more colder weather, because as Dean talks about, what's the LRC going to do for weather patterns, storms, we're all going to bundle up more when we're going outside. And so as our last topic, as we start to get towards the end of our time, Angie, we're all going to be wearing a lot more bulky clothes. We're going to be working around PTO shafts and cows. So any reminders and tips for folks as we are doing that? I think about, wearing my coveralls. I kind of run like the Pillsbury Doughboy. So I should probably be a little bit more careful when I'm back home helping with cattle, right? I mean, what are some of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned a number of hazards going on, right? And especially now as we're getting into, fall season, we're going to have cows and calves coming home from pasture, which means we're going to have a lot of pregnancy checking, and so basically what I'm getting at is we're handling the cattle, the animals a lot more right now as we're approaching weaning season, bringing cattle home. And so communication is key. Working chute side, that's where a lot of people get hurt. You'll see fractured skulls, you'll see fractured jaws just because of getting hurt by one of the levers on a squeeze chute. And so making sure you understand how to use that squeeze chute system, who's doing what job, communicating really well. And then the second point you brought up is, what are we wearing when we're working outside, when we're working with equipment? And it is, it's already, guys are already full coveralled up. It hit 9 degrees yesterday, folks. And so conditions are definitely changing. And so that means we need to accommodate. We need to protect ourselves by staying warm, but also be very aware. If you're wearing a sweatshirt that has the hoodie with strings on it, pull those strings out or tuck them in, because that's what gets producers in trouble, is if they lean over the PTO or is trying to hook up a hydraulic and they still have, for whatever reason, still have that machine on and that PTO running, we lean over and that's when we can see really serious injuries happen because those strings get wrapped up in a PTO shaft. Same with long sleeves that are too big for us, so just making sure we're properly fitted for the job at hand. And who would have ever thought we'd be talking about clothes, right, when it comes to safety, but it's actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah, what those things that we are doing matter every day when we are out there trying to stay warm and then try to work with producers as well. Let's face it, we got to be a little bit careful and think about some of those things. I don't necessarily think about the strings on my hoodie, but I should. So, Angie, as folks think about wanting, more questions are going to pop up through the winter months, et cetera. How would you like them to contact you, and where can they find resources that you can provide?
Oh my gosh, I would love, if any listeners out there want to discuss a topic or want more information, my phone line and email is always open. My door is always open. So pick your favorite search engine, type in NDSU Extension Farm Safety, and you will easily be able to find my contact information as well as the resources that we have.
That's awesome. Again, for those who've been listening, this is Angie Johnson. She is NDSU's Extension Farm and Ranch Safety Coordinator. Always a delight to have you, Angie, because our discussions are usually pretty thought-provoking. So thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Angie.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you for thinking safety first.
Appreciate that. Well, folks, we want to hear from the American Ag Network. Jesse Allen's going to bring us the markets, and then Dean's going to talk U.S. weather, and I've got one or two last topics to throw out for you for ag. Talk to you after that.
Think pink and help make a difference, because during Puckledge and Valley City's Why Pink event, we're donating $100 for every vehicle sold and $10 for every service repair order. Help us reach our goal of $10,000 donated to the JRMC Cancer Center and Sanford Roger Maris Cancer Center. So think pink and help make a difference as we raise $10,000 during our Why Pink event at Puckledge Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City.
Hey, it's 494 Ronnie from the Jay Thomas Show. And listen, MyPillow is having one of their biggest sales of the year, this time percale sheets. They're available in a variety of colors and sizes and are all on sale. For example, the queen size regular price, $89.98, now only $39.98 with your promo code WDAY. Order now, because when they're gone, they're gone. The percale sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. These come with a 10-year warranty. Nobody else gives you that. And a 60-day money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. There is a limited supply. So order now. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square, and use promo code WDAY. You will also get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Call 800-875-0644 and use promo code WDAY, or go to MyPillow.com. That's MyPillow.com. Using promo code WDAY.
Do you love working on cars but don't love your current job? If so, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Matthew Carlson, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. We're a family-owned full-service auto repair shop looking to hire skilled automotive technicians. With our state-of-the-art shops, great work environment with competitive pay and benefits, you'll enjoy a great job with a bigger purpose and a lot of opportunity for advancement. Visit FixItForwardAutoCare.com to apply. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
A mostly quiet market trade on Wednesday. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this closing market update. Well, lack of fresh news to drive the market trade on Wednesday. Grains just kind of drifted around. Wheat was the leader to start, tried to hang on to gains, but we saw wheat fall apart, turning mixed to lower, joining quarter beans lower for a time, with the dollar and the VIX maintaining its strength, being a headwind for the grain markets. We see that the wheat contracts, though, did rally off the lows. Soybeans did as well, finishing mostly in the green, and beans with corn right around the unchanged mark. The next 7 to 10 days or so, we're not going to see much in the way of fresh fundamental news. We don't anticipate to counter the strong dollar and VIX if those remain in place. The next round of U.S. production estimates are nearly 2 weeks away. Livestock trade was fairly solid on the day, though, Wednesday, finding more strength there after starting slow on the session. Final numbers on Wednesday: December corn down 2 3/4, 678 1/4. March down 2 1/2, 684 1/2. November beans half penny higher, 1372 1/2. January up 3/4, 1382 3/4. Bean meal December down 10 cents a ton, 401.70. December bean oil up 190 points, 70.64. Chicago wheat December 8 1/4 lower, 841 1/4. March down 8 1/4, 859 1/2. December KC wheat down 2 3/4, 941 3/4. Spring wheat December 2 3/4 lower, 953 1/4. March down 3 3/4, 959 1/4. Lean hogs December up 90, 87.37. February up 120, 89 even. Feeder cattle October up 40, 175.22. Feeder cattle for November up 25, 178.07. Live cattle October up 87, 149.35. And December up 157, 151.35. That's looking how the market trade closed on Wednesday on the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen reporting.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. Thank you for joining us today. We sure appreciate it. If you have any questions for us, 701-293-9000 for our last segment here. Again, that's 701-293-9000. Or you can email us at weather@flagfamily.com or ag@flagfamily.com. So let's take a quick run around the nation and kind of let you know what's happening. The main weather story across the lower 48 is the cold weather. Numerous freeze watches go all the way down into northern Florida, mainly the Panhandle area, southern Georgia, and portions of Mississippi, Alabama. And then that goes up to areas of Indiana through Pennsylvania and through Maryland. So the southeastern corner of the U.S., southeastern third, I guess you could say, under those, almost record-setting cold conditions. The rest of the country pretty quiet. Seattle, Portland, most of Washington and Oregon have had their driest October on record. That's due to that big ridge of high pressure that's been anchored out to the west. That's been one of the main features, and that's about ready to break down. And what that means is that's going to allow storms to come in on the west coast, mainly the northwest, Pacific Northwest. Wish we could get some of those down into central and southern Cal, but don't see a whole lot of that just yet. But again, we'll be keeping a close eye on that. So what does that mean for us? That means we're starting to go into the stormy part of the LRC cycle. How long will it last, if you're asking? We don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see how this pans out. But if this can go into a 3-week stretch where we continue to see these storms parade into the West Coast, depending on, do they race across the country? If they do, that's not going to help much because they're going to wring most of their moisture out as they cross the Rockies. If we can get a big trough to develop out to the west, it slows these systems down. It allows these systems to tap the Gulf of Mexico for more moisture into the central and northern plains. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Storm number 1 is going to affect us on Sunday and Monday with a warm-up initially and then a sharp cool down. And I think we'll even see some thunderstorms. It wouldn't surprise me to see some scattered severe storms nearby. If not here, favoring areas just to our south.
Today in our discussion, Dean, you asked a really great question. We were talking with Angie Johnson, safety farm coordinator for NDSU, and you mentioned what happens if we have a fire out in a field. And when you're talking about these dry conditions, which you just were, and the chance that we've got some rain coming, A, that may slow down harvest, but B, it lowers our chance of fire. One thing that's also going on that I wanted to point out, let's be cautious about lighting up the ditches out there. We got a few firebugs. Every neighborhood's got them. Somebody runs out, wants to burn out their cattails, etc. With as dry as it has been, and Dean's hoping we get moisture next week. I can see the glee in your eyes when you talk about it, Dean.
Man.
Those can get away very, very quickly if we don't have fire breaks, etc. I have an example of a farm right here where I live at Hunter where last round on a field, granted this was in the spring after we'd had to wait to harvest the corn. Last round, Dad lit the field on the far side, and as that combine was taking that last round off the field, they literally had to race to get that combine off the field in time because it moved that quickly. Wow. That's how fast we can see fires develop and move on these dry conditions. So we got to be careful out there.
Right. And if you didn't catch us earlier, we are going to have our LRC winter weather forecast. We're the target date, and I think we'll be able to hold to this, is going to be December 7th, and I believe that's on a Wednesday. What we'll do, we should have the LRC cycle set by then. Not a guarantee, but more than likely we should have our cycle set by then. Then we can pinpoint when, again, our Arctic outbreaks are going to be, when our best chances for snow is going to be, and we can forecast this all the way into the spring and summer months as well. And we'll touch mainly we'll touch mainly on the winter months, but we'll be able to have an idea. Hey, and this is going to be very important for our agriculture community, are we going to have a wet spring, a dry spring? Are we going to have a dry summer? Are we going to go into drought again? Or are we going to be okay? So, and once the cycle gets set, once we see how stormy the stormy part of the LRC cycle is, we'll have a great handle on it. So you'll make sure you put December 7th on your calendar. That's going to be a really fun and interesting special. That should be from about 2 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll have that.
That will be our special, but tomorrow our discussion will be just as exciting. We have an in-studio guest, so Dean gets to take care of the VIPs. And tomorrow is Daryl Richardson, and he is with NDON, North Dakota, let me see if I can get this right, Atmospheric Weather Network. So these are all of the little weather stations scattered across the state, and they get all of our weather data back when we want to know wind, rain, temperatures, et cetera, in various parts of the state. These are really helpful for us to do that. So it'll be interesting to see that, that combination of what Daryl does and versus what we do over here with the LRC. Dean. I think that'll be great.
And some of his NDON sites, and And it's the largest network, I believe, in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken. And Daryl,
I think it is.
I believe it is. Daryl's done a lot of great work with this. I use it every day. And some of these sites have cameras on it. You can capture, the snow falling. You can capture beautiful sunrises or sunsets. If there's been hail, a lot of them are pointing out towards the crops. So if there's a tornado, if there's hail damage, we can catch that on camera too. So it's a wonderful, wonderful, just vast array of weather information that he's got throughout the state.
There have been moments where Daryl has had to put a message out on Twitter and say, hey, this station's down. Can a farmer in the neighborhood drive there and unplug, replug, and get it running again? And we've literally done that through Twitter. We have found farmers who are close to those end-on sites to zip over there and take care of that real quick so it's up and running again.
That's awesome. That is fantastic.
It works out great.
Doesn't it? No doubt about it.
Yeah. So yesterday we had a guest, Leah Halverson. She's with 10 Acre Marketing out of Grand Forks, and she comes from the Black Gold Farm, which is a potato farm up in the Forest River area. And so our discussion about potatoes led me to get a couple of things from an article I had just read in Reader's Digest, because yes, I am an 80-year-old woman trapped in this body. So just a couple of things. McDonald's sells 9 million pounds of fries per day globally. 9 million pounds.
Wow.
And when they cut their potatoes, they go through a fry cutting machine at 60 to 70 miles an hour for 24 hours a day. I thought that was a fabulous little piece of trivia we should all know about our McDonald's French fries.
Best fries you've had, Bridgette?
I like those, but I like Arby's crinkle fries, and I like the fries that my local cafe makes the best.
Oh, okay. Any French fries good, really. It's hard to mess it up.
I'm all for potatoes.
Absolutely.
I'm a no carb left behind fan right here.
Fantastic. Well, we are running out of time here, so for myself and for Bridgette, we want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Again, Daryl Richardson will be our guest tomorrow. He's got a wealth of information, again, as we were talking about his Endon site and how did he get that going, and is there any reasoning for expanding that maybe to other states? Are other states trying to copy what Daryl is doing? Boy, that'd be awesome. That sure would help us with weather information, that's for sure. So you'll want to join us tomorrow, again, from 1 to 2 here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Again, thanks for joining us. And now, get ready for the Jay Thomas Show.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM.